Hello and thanks for joining me on Zulf Talks Photography. Another episode today for you. We've got a special one lined up for you today. We're going to be looking at a number of things. In today's episode, Instagram Reels. Are they hurting photographers? And why printing your photos is important. We're going to have a quick look at some articles around news and updates, what's going on in the photography world. It's been a week since the last one of these, so let's catch up and see how things are doing. Thank you for joining me here today. We'll be having some tips around taking some great wildlife shots. Manfrotto launches 2 new high-end tripods, something around stop using HDMI for your cameras, preview mode, and some mobile news around cameras. A new camera by Poco on their mobile phone, which is announced at 64 megapixel. I have got a Poco mobile phone and the camera is actually quite interesting on it, so it's always good to keep an eye on these things. So without any further ado, let's have a quick look at the first article. What have we got? So how Instagram Reels are hurting photographers. Okay, let's have a quick look what's going on here. So this is a Photography Life article. Instagram has been the world's biggest photo sharing platform for years, for better or for worse. Most professional photographers have an Instagram page, if for no other reason than to contact clients and share their work. And despite some issues over the years, broadly speaking, I believe it served photographers well. That's changed now. If you don't tend to go on Instagram, you may not have realized that the platform has drastically changed in its nature over time. Instagram is now prioritizing short form video content called Reels and is showing increasingly fewer photos in people's feeds. Reels were introduced in 2019, but now it feels like they are all you ever see. Okay, first up, nice article. I also noticed something else on Instagram. Let me explain it to you. So in this situation, is Instagram the best place for you if you're making content? I saw a quick article here and I want to do a follow-up on it. How Instagram Reels are hurting photographers. They're no longer showing photos anymore. They're showing more Reels. Think about shorts and like that kind of situation where people are creating content and they're just sharing the videos. However, there's something else that I noticed which is very interesting. If you have an Instagram account, people used to use that as their website, their portfolio, like instagram.com/photography or whatever, Zulf photography, for example. However, now they've changed the rules. So if you actually have an Instagram profile, you need to have an account to be able to see that. Whereas if someone clicks on it, it'll say this profile is unavailable if you're not logged into Instagram. So people used to use it as websites, but you can't do that anymore unless the person watching your website has an Instagram account as well. So they're slowly getting away from that, which is the importance of having your own website, because these things are changing. Check it out, you'll know what I mean. So that is something like a bit of an update to let you know what's happening there, because it's always interesting when they change things. And I noticed they did change it, because why would they want to, I don't know why they would change that, because they're basically going through the situation where they're updating things. And I don't think they need to update things. Sometimes it's okay to leave it as it is. So if you had an Instagram account, you could go to somebody else's Instagram profile and look at it. But now, unless you have an Instagram account, you can't do that. So that's something that's definitely hurting photographers, I think. Well, hurting photographers, hurting anybody, is basically a change. Printing your photos, is that something you need to think about? I think a lot of people don't do this anymore. So 6 reasons why printing your photos is important. Brady Cabe of F-Stopper's article here I'm looking at. So, okay, as a photographer, spend a lot of time taking photos, editing, blogging, and posting them on social media. However, are these photos just meant to be viewed for the 24-hour period or less that they're displayed on social media, only to disappear forever? Personally, I believe it's important to create and share something tangible and special. So brush up on your editing skills so you can start printing, because when you edit for print, it's different than editing for website, monitor, phone viewing. So that's something important to learn. Enhance your photography skills, get inspired, look at different articles. If you remember back in the day, I used to do a lot of print for magazines, like fashion photography stuff, and there was a whole new color profiles and all this stuff that you need to worry about. revisit old photos, bring your photos to life. So you once you print a photo, it looks so much better than on a screen. You can start looking at the ones that are good and start making a portfolio. Ultimately, it is satisfying having your photo printed out and you looking at it. So nice article there, Brady Cabe. Thank you for that. F-stoppers. So to summarize what we will be saying there, basically, it's very important to print your photos. You'll be surprised how much more you learn from printing your photo than you would from it being on a profile. So I've seen this article here, F-stoppers, Brady Cabe. Basically brushing up on your editing skills, because you edit differently if you're going to print a photo versus it being on display. You're going to have it enhance your photography skills. You'll take photos considering you're going to be taking images, you're going to be printing them out. You get more inspiration from the types of photographs you take, because you can think about, oh, would this look good on somebody's wall, for example, or could I put this in a canvas, that kind of idea. You can revisit old photos and print those out. You're bringing photos to life, and ultimately it is satisfying. So make sure to have a look at this. It's very easy these days to go online. I'm not sponsored by any website or anything, so you can go online and use like a printing service where you can print out 50-60 photos for free normally when you join. So maybe try that and see how it looks. It's a nice experience, and you can look at it differently when you're printing your photos. Printing your photos is important. It definitely is. What else we got on there today? So they've got a new phone, Poco F5 and F5 Pro, announced with 64 megapixel imaging and Galaxy A54 beating price. I've always been a bit of a fan of Poco. I've had a Poco phone before and it's done well. I prefer it over my A53 Samsung, which I brought, and I did an article where I explained why I don't like the Samsung A53. It's just a budget phone. They've cut everything back, whereas other providers out there, which are not big brands, are giving you better phones. So the main thing on this one is the camera. So 64 megapixel cameras, a massive 256 gigabyte storage as standard, and you can put expansion in there as well. So Xiaomi's budget brand Poco has just announced the Poco F5 and 5 Pro, two phones that are pack gaming power, grunt, and mass of storage. It does look quite nice, like snazzy. The one I got is the cameras are quite intensive on it, to be honest with you. So maybe that's consider that. Definitely. So let's do a recap on that. Well, having a look at this, I'm always good to have a look at the phones out there. Poco F5 have released a new phone. I use a Samsung A53. I'm not happy with it. It's a business phone and it's a very base layer phone. Very expensive, well brand name. It's not a good phone. So I also have a Poco which I use, and you'd be surprised how much cheaper, better, camera wise, performance wise it is. I can edit a 1080p video on that, no problem at all, whereas on this you can tell you'll have to wait 15-20 minutes for it to like render and everything once you export it, whereas in the Poco 4 to 5 minutes and it's done. So because it's not a well-known name, it doesn't mean you shouldn't have it. Xiaomi is like the parent company of Poco, is a budget brand of theirs. So check out the new F5. I'm sure that'll be as good as the one I had before. Maybe I will get that in and test it. Might be an option. But yeah, don't be struggling with cameras. If you've got a good phone, you can use the camera on the phone, especially if it's a Poco. The cameras are really good based on my experience. Poco over Samsung is what we're saying today. What else we got today? What are some successful photography tips? Do you need to even be a successful photographer? Is that like a whole new thing? There's an article in F-stoppers. So you see them all over the internet, on your socials, exhibiting in their galleries and lining up clients by the dozens. Successful photographers seem to have it all figured out, and that makes you feel like you're doing something wrong. Do not worry, you're not alone in this. Comparison is a thief of joy. Take your photos. Nobody else can take a photo like you take a photograph, is what I think they're going at this. Life is in the way. It's when you see photographs like this, like they tell a story, they're emotional. It's like you can't always recreate that. So professionals have an eye for that. However, you're someone different. So if you're taking photographs, don't let that hold you back, basically, is what's going on here. So having looked at this article, what makes you a successful photographer, and do you even need to be one? Nobody else can take photographs like you take photographs. You need to get out there, enjoy yourself, whether it's a phone, digital camera, a film camera, anything you're shooting with. Take photos to have a memory, to look back on and think, wait a minute, I remember how I felt at that moment in time. Look at how the colors feel in a black and white photo versus a color photo, experimenting. So try not to compare yourself to other professionals out there. You have your own journey. Take your photos. It can be of wildlife, it can be of progression of your family, it can be your garden, it can be pets, it can be anything. Once you see those and you look back at them, you'll be like, oh wow, look at that, that's changed since then. Sometimes taking pictures of locations, things are no longer present, so that is like an ultimate form of documentation. And don't let your life get in the way. Use your life as your photography method and enjoy it, is basically my tip today. Okay, what makes a successful photographer? I saw this and it looked interesting. Manfrotto always come out with interesting concepts. So article on digital camera here. Manfrotto launches 2 high-end tripod kits with a twist. Each kit includes an excellent tripod with head, but there's also an innovative extra that makes these kits truly unique. Okay, you intrigued me. Is it just a case that it flips over 90 degrees? Is that like a standard? Okay, so the quick release. It's got like a bit of a okay, interesting. Check that out. Both tripod kits are available now in B&H. Nothing that yeah, there's stuff out there already doing things like this, so it's not groundbreaking, I don't think, but well done. Yeah, a bit underwhelmed with that. It built up. It's like a clickbait kind of thing, that one was. Anyway, what else we got? Stop using HDMI to connect to a monitor. Why would you say that? Industry experts reckon HDMI could be restricting monitor image quality. I'm not so sure. Questions have arisen over whether you should use HDMI to connect your monitor to your computer in recent interview between UK photographer, videographer and author Glenn Dewis and Chris Ball. Okay. Is this just a case of like pixel peeping? Do we need to do this? If your photo looks good, it will look good. We've had cameras with various megapixels over the years. Is this just one of those things that people are comparing because they've got too much time on their hands? Maybe, possibly. Sounds like that. As long as your photo is good, I don't think you need to go to the nth degree to start looking at specific, unless it's affecting your workflow, which maybe it is. But yeah, I think they call themselves professional because they go into that level of depth. But a novice on the street can look at a camera on a photograph and be like, okay, that's a good photograph. That's not a good photograph. Is that enough? Or should we be deep diving into specific? Oh, yes. Love to hear from you. Let me know what you think about that. Take great wildlife shots with affordable gear. That's an interesting article. Photography. DIYphotography.net. Nice article there. With a video as well. Let's have a quick... Oh, I like he starts on a bike. Let's have a quick little look on that. Just going to skip through. I'll encourage you to go and have a look at that channel and have a look at that in more detail. Was he doing okay? Basic kit. Yeah, you don't need fancy kit. I'm glad he did that. He's got a gear. He's got a kit lens, as it were. Let's have a look. The YouTube channel, just so I can give you a diversion. Okay, so I'll link you to this. I'll put this in the show notes. It's a video channel. Check out his channel and wildlife photography tips. Espen Halland. I think I've said that right. Sorry if I said it wrong. YouTube channel. Yeah, I'll put on the show notes so you can check that out. Definitely a good there's some amazing hidden spots around the world. Have you ever been to this place? Hidden gem in Arabian Sea is photographer's paradise. Look at some of these photographs. Oh my days, they look like so amazingly, not fake, but like magical is the word. Look at that. That takes a lot of time, a lot of preparation. It's not easy to take good photographs like this. You have to spend a bit of time in the location. You have to keep going back to find the perfect day. Look at that. That looks almost like Lord of the Rings style. Oh my god. It's a quick little preview there. Make sure you check out the actual Petapixel article for these. Okay. Interesting. Hopefully that gives you a bit of motivation. Get your camera out. Start taking some photographs, peeps. Again, this article and episode is powered by trustedcreators.org. So be sure to check out trustedcreators.org for more information about this episode, as well as ways of getting sponsored. If you create content online regularly and you want a bit of help with like guidance, advice, gear, basics about setting up live streams, videos, trustedcreators.org, go right to the bottom of the page, get sponsored, fill out a form, and you can actually get sponsored to create content to help you on your way, basically, to get started. Thank you for joining me here today, and I'll see you on the next episode of Zulf Talks Photography. Everything available in the show notes.